Okay, now you should be able to hear me. Marie, hello. Orena, hello. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. Thank you for joining the live. Super excited. Super excited. Maria, I just saw your text, girl. I'm going to have to call you when we are done, honey. I have so many thoughts, so many things to say. But yes, we are going to do live mini readings. For those who want it, you are welcome to jump on the list. Let me go ahead and prepare that for us now, tell you how to get on the list. If you'd like for me to read your chart, thank you, Lunar Lise. Great to have you here. And Holly Barube, thank you. Really great to be here. Taishika Miller. I hope I said your name right. Taishika Miller, yeah. Oof, so excited to be here with you guys. So to get on the list, Venmo, that's the Venmo, PayPal. Let me get that correct so that link works tonight. I'm super pumped to do this. Did any of you catch the live with Allison Armstrong? What did you guys think of that? I was blown away. She just kept blowing my mind over and over and over again with the way she communicated men and love. I just couldn't get over it. Such a treat to be able to have her on the channel. I've been wanting to share her with you guys for some time now. So yeah, we're gonna do, please have your chart information ready to post. Date, time, location of birth. Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and share this in our chat. And then you guys can go ahead and get started. It was really deep, wasn't it, Orena? Super deep. Just the way that one insight when a man says he cares about you instead of he loves you, just that was worth its weight in gold, was it not? Oh my gosh. That was worth its weight in gold. You guys can go ahead and get started. Deep, wasn't it? Okay, let me paste this. Awesome. So whoever would like to get a reading, the list is now officially open. I am happy to read for you this evening. I'll be on for as long as I can, probably a couple of hours, and we will hang out and play. I will look at charts and answer questions about 2020, what's going to happen for you, what's going to happen for your twin, what might make things come together, etc. Let me get this charger together here. Now that I got my list. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, Tashika, I highly recommend that you go ahead and watch that as soon as you have a chance. She's extraordinary in her work, in helping men and women bridge the communication and connection gap. Lunar Lise, I do not have any more December readings open. That is why I'm doing these lives, because my next availability isn't until January. So you're welcome to ask a question tonight. And then if you would prefer to go ahead and book now for January 1st through the 15th, because that list is now open, we can roll with that. Just email me at chrysalis there we go, moon@gmail.com, to set up a reading for January. You'll get an autoresponder that details exactly what you need to do to pay for and get on the list for January. And once you're on the list, you'll be invited to schedule on Monday of this coming week, the 23rd of December. So, right now on the list, I've got Agatha and then Holly. Um, Here's those details again, Jamie. I just repasted them. So just use one of those links. Just be mindful, though, that Venmo is a mobile payment app and it doesn't work on desktop. So if you need a desktop payment option, PayPal is the way to go. And then just don't email your PayPal payment. You do actually have to use the PayPal link. Okay, cool. Awesome. Arena, let me go ahead and get your chart together. Pull this up. Thank you very much, my love. Time Passages app, where are you? Oh, no, we are going to just share the screen. And not going to end the meeting. We are going to pull up the Time Passages app. So yeah, if you want me to look at your chart for now for 2020, just let me know. You can make a payment to any of the links provided and we will get you started. All right, Arena. All right. Just FYI, my Wi-Fi cuts in and out a little bit. So if it cuts, I am definitely coming back. Okay. And that is not what I meant to type. I meant to type what is your question? All right. And then we have Elizabeth. We'll add to the list as well. Awesome. Okay. So just waiting on Orena to share her question. And then after Orena, Holly, if you could go ahead and start typing and preparing your details. I will read you next. Elizabeth, you as well. If you would start typing and preparing your details, I just only ask that you hold them until I call your name, because there may be some back and forth between myself and the person I'm reading for, and it gets very difficult to find your information. If I have to scroll quite a bit between your information being delivered and someone else's chat details. So if you would be so kind as to go ahead and hold that, but get it ready so that we can have a seamless flow. Between readings. That would be great. So Holly, Elizabeth, you two are next. Please start to prepare your questions and your birth details. Orena, please tell me what's important. I really want fam, a partner, and increase my business. Okay, got it. Since this is a singular question, mini reading. There's only so much detail that I'm going to be able to provide, um, but I'm going to do my best to just let you know what's important for 2020 based on the desires you just expressed. Okay. All right. So, what I'm seeing here, okay, I see that the brakes are on about creating family and around romance until actually, interestingly, like middle of next year. That's when the brakes come off. Um, and the reason the brakes are on right now is because you're moving through a period of time of restoring your own integrity in the arena of creativity and creation. So, what you're about to see is what you see now is where the planets were at the moment of your birth. This is where they are now. Now, you see a lot of the actions taking place here in your fifth house. And the fifth house is the house of creative offspring. And the challenge that's kind of been coming and brewing to a head on what we call your axis of manifestation, the 11th house and the fifth house, has been that it's time to up level your capacity when it comes to manifesting and up level your dreams when it comes to manifesting and what you're trying to create. This little guy, Saturn, sitting at 19 degrees, has been hanging out in this house. Um, Oh, you're almost done with this. You're at the end of about a 2 year transit, 2.5 year transit through the fifth house, where it would have felt like anything you've tried to create just didn't come to fruition. And it would have felt like, trying to create a family or trying to create relationship, like no matter how hard you worked, it would not have come to fruition. And the reason why is when Saturn transits a house, what its work is about restoring integrity. Its work is about creating completions, ending cycles around anything that's out of alignment with the core of who you are and your true soul desire and what you're meant to be learning in this lifetime. And that is demonstrated here by your North Node in Leo. A North Node in Leo sitting right on your ascendant line is telling us that your lifelong lesson is learning how to see your life through your own eyes, learning how to choose your adventure based on your own heart, the Leo heart, how to conduct what you need and what you want out of life based on what's true for Orena, not what her parents wanted or the life she's lived up until this point dictates she should have, or what's appropriate for the kind of job she has, or when you have a partner, what's in alignment with their needs. You're actually currently, this last 2.5 years was meant to help break you from any illusions about what it is that's true for you so that you can come home to the truth in your heart and truly begin the process of creating and manifesting from that place. So, because you're at the tail end of that transit, like really the very last stages of that blockage, and now, Jupiter, expansion, hope, optimism, luck, has just wrapped up its transit in the sign of truth. You got the truth of what it is you want and what matters to you and what doesn't. Jupiter's now moving into the sign of physical manifestation. And in this sign, you're going to be able to have the opportunity to create some of these things that you want. It just got here like 2 weeks ago, and you've got a full year with Jupiter in the sign of physical manifestation. The brakes are off. You've got the green light from the universe. Now it's about taking everything that you've learned about what other people think you should have and setting that aside, Orena, so that you can create what is truly in alignment for you. Think about the things you've learned over the last several years about what works for you and what doesn't, who you are and who you're not, and leverage that to move forward in the creation of partnership and family. I do think you're going to be able to create it. Timing wise, you've just entered into a period of much fertility. I'll say that. Just checking something. As you move through this transit over the next few years, I see you were born in 1980. One of the things I can see could potentially happen for you is surprise. It doesn't look likely now, but it does look like a possibility in the future. You could potentially get surprise pregnant if you are not meaning to. Please be careful and just be aware of that, because you are in a 1-year period of heightened fertility. And you'll have more of that to come. Like, you're actually just in a really fertile period on the whole. So just be aware of that you may, it may be possible for you to have that baby before you have that guy, that perfect guy. And as long as you're okay with that, because it's the truth for you, then by all means proceed and have fun, my love. Good to hear you got into those childhood wounds and that you're healing a lot of stuff. Great work. All right, so our list looks like Holly next, then Elizabeth, then Lim. Yeah, worked on it. Cool. Yeah. It sounds like you know about what the truth is for you. So just allow yourself to keep going. Holly, can I please have your birth data? Elizabeth and Lim, if you would be so kind as to start preparing your information for me. That way it's available as soon as I call your name, and we don't have any wait time in between readings. That would be fantastic. I would love that. Okay, so let's see here. Looking for Holly or Elizabeth. Lim, you are after Elizabeth. And if you'd like to get on the list, it's definitely open. I am happy to read for you. Holly, Elizabeth, and Lim are next. Elizabeth, Luna, okay, great. All right. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up your chart now, Elizabeth. It's okay. Holly may still be getting some of her details ready, so we'll go ahead and work with you. Elizabeth L. Minnie, you were born in Mexico. Where in Mexico were you born, Elizabeth? If you could provide that detail, that would be great. I need the city. 12/6/1967, 12/16, 11:05 a.m., Guadalajara. Okay. We have Guadalajara, so we'll work with that. Elizabeth, what is your question, my love? And Holly, if you would be so kind as to just hold until I'm done with Elizabeth. Lim and Holly, you two will be next. Please prepare your question. And when I call your name, be prepared to post it. Okay, Holly, I got you. Okay, Holly, got you. Thank you. We'll do you next, honey. Elizabeth, what is your question? Just wondering what this journey is ultimately meant to teach me. Okay. So that's a tougher question to answer without your twins chart here. But what I'm gathering just based on your chart alone and what significant relationships, what your chart is saying about significant relationships, of which your twin is one. One of your lifelong lessons, or your most significant lifelong lesson, is this North Node here in Aries in the second house. Aries is the sign of the self, and the second house is about self worth, self value, and earned income. It's about values and the things that we value. With the sign of the self governing the house of values, where your lifelong lesson sits, your lifelong lesson has to do with valuing yourself, Elizabeth. It has to do with coming to understand how to really cherish who you are and stand for not just your own value, Elizabeth, but it also has to do with standing for. Oh, wow, your chart's telling a more specific story. Yeah, standing for the things that you value. But really, the specifics of the story, given the placement of your sun, sitting very harmoniously placed to this North Node, has to do with it has to do with valuing yourself and valuing your contributions to the world, Elizabeth. This is the number one thing that you are being asked to learn in this lifetime, is how to value who you are and stand for what you contribute, and that it matters. To know the truth, not overinflate it or underemphasize it, not to see it worse than what it is or better than what it is, but to really see the truth of who you are and what you bring to the world. That's your lifelong lesson. And any significant relationship that would come into your life is actually asking you to learn that. Also, that would probably very specifically include your twin. So, because I see the divine masculine here is represented in the house of committed partnership, the seventh house. And he sits in the sign of discernment. So, and that is the ruler of your sun. Jupiter rules your sun, and your sun is what's speaking to your North Node, your lifelong lesson. So, I would take a gander to say that that is what you're here to do. And that's a big piece of what this connection is teaching you, is how to value Elizabeth. All right. Okay. Let me just edit that so I have your name spelled correctly. All right, Holly, you're next. And then after Holly, there's Lim. So, Lim, don't paste anything just yet. The list is still open for anyone that would like to join. We're going to go ahead and read Holly now. I just pasted the details if you'd like to join. Okay, Holly, cool. Rochester, Michigan. Michigan, Rochester, mm, 11, 16, 1979. Okay, so Holly, birth time 5:58. 5:58 p.m. Okay, got it. Okay, and I got your payment, love. You're on the list. We're reading Holly now. Lim, you are next. So please prepare your question and your details. Anne, you please do the same. Prepare your question and your details. Please do not send anything before I call your name. Press send when I call your name so that there's a seamless flow between each of the readings. All right. So, Holly. Yes, Kristen, there's room for another reading. You can go ahead and pay, sweetheart. All right, Holly. Your question was, you're a twin seeking clarity on what's happening with us and the next step to be together. I have received downloads and I get stuck in doubting my intuition. Okay. Well, part of the reason you get stuck doubting your intuition is because in this lifetime, you're healing intuitive wounds from the past. With Chiron, the healer, sitting here in the house of psychic phenomena and activity, it's kind of par for the course that trust is something that will be an ongoing work for you when it comes to your intuition. But the number one way that you're going to understand your intuition, it looks like, is through your clairsentience. One of your biggest intuitive gifts is your ability to know through your feelings. I'm sure you've heard of the different clairs, claircognizant, which is, clear knowing, clairvoyance, clear seeing, clairaudience, clear hearing. You are clairsentient, which is clear feeling. And so you will know what the right thing to do is when by paying very careful attention, in particular to the sensations in your body and paying attention specifically to what allows you to feel A, closer to home, and B, more and more creative. The more creative you feel, the more you'll be on the right track. And the more at home you are feeling, the more you'll be on the right track. Now, that could just seem like general life advice, but I'm specifically looking at, for you, Holly, the houses that speak to spiritual gifts. We're looking at house 12, house 8. And they both are governed by earth signs. Specifically, the 12th house is hosting Chiron in the physical body earth sign of Taurus. The physical earth sign of Capricorn is what talks or governs your 8th house. So now I'm like, okay, well, we need a grand trine here just to seal the deal. Looking down here at Virgo, the sign of discernment, Virgo spans 2 houses for you, home, and it also, and that's where your DM sits, and Jupiter sits in Virgo for you, and creativity. So this is what you're looking for to know you're moving in the right direction. Things that allow you to feel at home and feel at your most creative, most deepest capacity to source things out of the ether and pull it into the world, most like a woman. That's what you're looking for to let you know you're going in the right direction. Okay. Let's see. Holly. Okay, and so the next step, let's just see what 2019 says, or sorry, 2020 says about your step in the connection. Your step, okay, has to do with figuring out how to balance yourself and balance your needs and how to be really fair to yourself in connection. So it's interesting, like I'm seeing so many echoes of the live stream that I just did with Allison just now. I don't know if any of you guys watched that, but in it, she talked about how important it is to honor ourselves and how honoring ourselves and honoring our needs actually allows us to have a self that someone else can honor. I think one of the things she said was that we will never allow someone to treat us better than we treat ourselves, to love us better, to give to us more than we give ourselves. It's not possible. And with your needs sitting in the sign of partnership, that's Moon, in the fifth house of creative offspring and creativity, and the divine feminine asteroid, Juno, transiting back and forth on top of needs in that house, you are specifically being asked to sink more deeply into what you need and to honor that and to allow that to lead the way forward. So that's your 2020 step. And what needs to happen for you in 2020 for this to come together. That's what the stars are guiding you to do, my love. So if you missed it, definitely go re-listen to the live broadcast that I did with Allison, because she deep dives on how that works, why it works, what you need to do, etc. So that you can fully step into the self that is actually capable of holding your partnership with your DM. Okay. All right. So Rio just joined the list. So I've added you. Lim, you are next. Thank you so much for being ready, Lim. Anne, you're going to be after Lim. So what I need you to do, Am, is just do what Lim just did and prepare your questions and your details for so that you're ready to post it as soon as I finish with Lim. All right, Anne. Rio, you're added to the list. If anyone else would like to join the list, you can find those details there. And definitely have a re-listen to the live I did with Allison. I think you'll find that very helpful. All right, so you're born in Singapore. We're talking about October 22nd, 1991. 3:49 p.m. All right, cool. All right, list is still open for those of you just joining. Welcome. I'm happy to read for you with a mini chart reading. The details were just posted. Lim, talk to me about your question. Cool. Somehow I feel stuck and sometimes anxious about career and financial stability. Okay, well, there's no accident there, Lim. There's some good reasons why you feel stuck. Let's get, and like there's multiples in your chart going on right now. So I'm not surprised that A, you feel stuck, and B, anxious about the stability of things. You are going through a time of great transition, Lim. Let me just give you a note about when that's going to come to a head and be over with. Okay, here's Saturn. Oh, you're also approaching your Saturn return, my love. That's also part of it. Saturn return forces all of us to get on the right track and get on with it. It is a scheduled moment of divine intervention. What are the opportunities, especially in pulled towards developing a hobby like human design, chakras, tea? Not sure if it's a good idea. I'm a trained accountant. Right. I definitely got that you're a trained accountant by looking at your chart. You make money by dealing with money. That's the number one way you make money in this lifetime. And the number one way you build your career is by dealing with money. Capricorn institutions, Scorpio banks, Taurus money itself. All of these are speaking to your career in higher education and money earning houses in very significant ways. So you're on track in terms of what it is that you are, what your chart speaks to, where the money lives, which is great because so often I have people come in the other way. They know where the passion lives, but they have no idea where the money lives, and they're struggling in that regard. Now that you know where the money lives, you can you have the resources, the money to be able to build out the passion. And that's a really great place to start from, given that we live on the earth plane. Should you go into quant trading, you have some opportunities, but it's new to me. Take any opportunities that come, Lim. You've got the instability that you just described is real. It's indicating a lot of transition for you. And it's best if you take opportunities that come rather than getting pushed because, life changes in circumstance and then you missed an opportunity. If the opportunity is coming at this time with Jupiter, expansion, opportunity, and luck transiting your 10th house of career, fame, and honors, it's because you're supposed to take it. It was meant to come along. Now, about these things that your family doesn't expect for you, I can definitely see a passion here around spirituality, but it doesn't look like it's the path of financial stability for you. The one you're on looks more like that according to your chart. But developing the hobby, absolutely, now is a great time for that, especially if you're called to it. That's also supposed to be a part of your life. So I would go for it on the hobby front, but as the saying goes, don't give up your day job. Okay. We've got a couple more additions to the list. And if opportunities are coming, take them. Do the quant trading thing. I got it that it's new, but chances are you're going to be good at it. It's going to take some work before it really pays off, but you'll get there and it'll be really worth it to you in the end. Yeah, you know what, Lim, we'd have to probably look a little bit further in a full reading to really get into what's the deal with finances, but just in terms of what's the deal with career, have a look at the quant trading piece if it's being presented to you. All right, Lim, thank you. And for those of you who are just joining, you'd like to get on the list, it's open. That's the information. And for those of you who have interest in, wow, voice, you can do it. Come on, we got this tonight. For those of you who have interest in getting a reading with me, I'm now booking January 1st through the 15th, and you just email me, you'll get the autoresponder. It will provide details on how you book that reading. Next up on our list, we have Anne, then Rio, Deborah, then Tiffany. What you're going to want to do is, Anne, go ahead and paste your question because it is now officially your turn. All right. Thank you, Tiffany. If you would be so kind as to hold that information until I call your name. I've got information coming in from 3 other people before your turn. So just if you're just now paying, please hold your information until I call your name, and prepare your information so that there's a seamless flow from the end of one reading into the beginning of yours. Okay, Anne, let's see. Got you next. Let's go ahead and share screen. What do we have for Annie? Belleville, New Jersey. Okay. July 12th, 1976. And then what is the time? 10:23 p.m. Okay, amazing. All right. Anne's question is, I've had many challenges and hardships in romantic. Let me just get my timer together. Romantic relationships in this lifetime. Okay. I have recently had many downloads and feel I'm very much in sync with your channel. I recently met someone that feels like they could be my divine masculine. He's a sun cap. Okay, so his sun sits opposite your sun. I wonder if you feel like more stability in relationships for me. Yes, it's coming. But wow, voice. Let me just take a sip. Water here. Okay. Right. So the reason there's been so much instability in getting relationships off the ground is because you're going through a transit where this Saturn is opposing your sun. So here's your sun here in the 5th house of creative endeavors. This is also the house that governs romantic offsprings and liaisons. So getting things off the ground with Saturn opposing your sun is hard because Saturn doesn't want things to start, it wants things to end. Saturn doesn't want new beginnings, it wants clean endings, integritous endings. It wants to clear the decks in with a lot of like high value, high integrity. And so with Saturn opposing your sun and Pluto opposite your sun as well, you would have found yourself it's a very burning the bridges kind of transit. And so you're in the middle of a period of time where life is saying the season is for cleaning up the way things have gone so far. There will be a season for things to open up again, but just because you prefer warm weather, we can't wear shorts in the summer. We can't wear shorts in the winter hoping that it's going to be warm weather. It doesn't work like that. The season that you're in right now is one of releasing things and letting things go. So you're you're more than midway through it. You're almost done with it. By the end of 2020, by this time next year, the season will be complete. However, I'm on the fence about how that looks, how that's going to go, only because Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. There will be a little bit more challenge, but the people that you're going to meet will be people who will be in for the lesson with you. Hey, Bob, welcome. The people that will come are going to be people who will support you in learning how to do relationships in a way that truly serves who you are come the end of 2020. So right now, what you're really what the universe is asking you to do is just clear the decks, girl. Clear the decks. The people who are going, let them go. They were here to do certain work with you. The take stock of the patterns. That's the other thing Saturn is asking you to do, is not try to start new things, but pay attention to the patterns, Annie. There have been patterns there for you to see around who's coming and who's going and what they have in common in terms of, I mean, this is having to do with your son, so it's no accident. We had Allison on tonight talking about honoring ourselves. Because the sun is the self in your chart, they're really asking you to Saturn is asking you to take a look at how have people been treating you and what are they mirroring back to you in terms of your wholeness with yourself, your integrity with how you're treating yourself. Okay. So I expect things will get, they won't continue to be challenging in the same way. But the season that you're in right now has to do with paying attention to growth, paying attention to letting things go that are no longer meant for you and allowing things in that are. Okay. Who's next? Let me just double check the apps. We got a payment in from Melanie. Thank you. You're now on the list. I appreciate that. I get to read for you tonight. Here's the way our list is looking. We've got Rio. Rio is next. We've got Deborah. We've got Tiffany. Then we've got Melanie. So Rio, if you would be so kind as to go ahead and paste your question and your information. Then Deborah, I'll ask you to paste your information. Then Tiffany, please do not paste your information until I call your name. As you can see, the chat, there's a lot of back and forth sometimes between myself and the person I'm reading for, in addition to new people coming into the chat. So scrolling up isn't exactly a clean way for me to get your details. Hold your details until I call your name. Be prepared to paste them when I call your name, so that there's a seamless flow between the last person's reading ending and your reading beginning. List is still open. And Kristen, I did receive your payment. All right, so I'm adding you to the list. You are after Melanie. We've got Rio, Tiffany, Melanie, then Kristen. So we'll flow in that order. Rio or Deborah, Rio, Deborah, Tiffany, Melanie, then Kristen. Rio, if you would be so kind. Thank you. I met in person for the first time April 9th. Gotcha. Met over the phone a month prior. Gotcha. So I'll just look to find your question, Rio. Aw. And thank you. I appreciate that integrity. Thank you so much. Really, really, I appreciate that. The $1 has been received. Let's see. You're welcome, Annie. Thank you for allowing me to see your stars and read your stars. All right, Rio, I had your chart, so I just pulled it back up. November 3rd, 1984. Happy belated, Rio. 1:12 p.m. San Diego. Got you. Okay. He's coming into town on the 20th. We're supposed to see each other that evening and or on the 21st at his family's holiday gathering. Gotcha. Okay. Just go over to that date. 12:20. Uh-huh. Yes. Gotcha. Hey, Katrina, welcome. You're great friends with his mom. Was prior to you guys meeting. She invited me and he decided to fly out for it. Okay, Rio, but what's your question, babe? I need a question. Because I won't be able to do a full reading for you. I can do one question. And then, Deborah, you are next. So if you would be so kind as to paste your information, that would be fantastic. When I call your name, go ahead and start typing it up, Deborah. As soon as I call your name, you will, it'll be your turn. We acknowledge and we've been honest with each other about the connection we share and envision an incredible life together. But he and I are still working our stuff out. That's great, Rio. Your next post needs to have a question mark in it, Rio. I need a question, my love. What do you want to know? Wondering if it's a good time to see him. Okay, gotcha. There's any alignment to support deeper evolving of the cycle we've been in for the past 2 years. Okay. So, Rio, I'm going to tell you now that this is the kind of thing that it would, and this is less for you and more for everyone who is watching. The kind of question that Rio just asked is the kind of question that is best answered in a personal reading. In that personal reading, we would look at your chart and their chart and the union chart. And that would be what allows you to see how the energy flows overall and between the two of you. Because this is a mini reading, I can only look at one chart. I've got Rio's chart up. So what I can see here is that he is coming back into his home location in your chart. It also appears that, let me just see what you said about his birthday is June 19th. Okay. Cancer. Yep. Home location in your chart, opposite his sun. North node will be conjunct his sun. Yeah, I can see he's going to be in a period of time where he is just feeling himself, like feeling like he is himself, which is fantastic. For you, there is a little bit of wrapping up the cycle of learning some lessons around what to manifest and what not to, what's for you and what's not. Also learning how to surrender and allow the process to unfold. You've had some really big lessons around that in the last little stretch. And so, what I'm being shown here is that divine feminine in the hidden sign in your chart, also in the hidden house in the sign of balance, it is going to be best to let him take the lead when you see him. Because he sits in the house of wish fulfillment in your chart. You sit in the sign of balance. Let him take the lead, Rio. And that's actually what's going to allow things to move forward at this stage. Your job when you see him is to just wait and see and allow yourself to be in a place of seeing how you feel based on what occurs. Now, that may just seem kind of like very general advice, but your chart is speaking pretty loudly to not premeditating this, not trying to plan this out ahead of time, not trying to make this into, like okay, well, I should do this and then do this with his mom, and then we can do that. And then if he does this, then I'm going to do that. But if he does this, then I'm going to do that. And I have to be prepared either way. So I'll make sure this outfit is clean and that outfit is clean. Don't premeditate jack. Just show up, Rio. That's what your chart is asking. Just show up. Say hello. See how you feel in response to whatever he says after hello. But do not premeditate this one bit. Hang in the balance. That's what your chart is asking of you to do. That's how you're going to get the best results with the meeting that's coming up. Okay. Yeah. And furthermore, Rio, that's not just pertaining to this party, this event when you're going to see him. Literally, that's the position the two of you are going to be in for the next 11 months together, based on the way, Juno and Jupiter have moved through the signs. So, and are going to stay in the sign. So prepare yourself to cultivate that attitude and that orientation to your connection, where until he has made a move, because he is sitting in the physical manifestation sign of Capricorn in your house of wish fulfillment, on the axis of manifestation in your chart, until he has made a move, your answer, Rio, is I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. Now, you can know what you want, you can know what you value. All of that is true. But what you're going to do needs to be a real time response, an authentic response, and in the moment response based on the truth of what's happening for you in that moment. Okay? That's what your chart is asking of you all of 2020, literally starting with this party. The answer is I don't know until you see in real time. Do not premeditate this. Okay. All right. So that's Rio. Then we have Deborah next, then Tiffany, then Melanie, then Kristen, then Priscilla. All right. Deborah, if you would be so kind, it is now your turn. After Deborah, Tiffany and Melanie, if the two of you could please go ahead and begin typing your information, so that the moment I call your name, just like when I said Deborah's name, she had her stuff ready and pasted for me. If you could start typing so that when I call your name, Tiffany and Melanie, that would be fantastic. Okay, you two are next. Priscilla, I received your payment. Thank you. You're welcome, Rio. It was a pleasure to read for you. Okay, let's get Miss Deborah going. Debbie, Minnie. All right. Dallas, Texas. 10/9/72. 6:32 p.m. All right. What is your cue? I've been going through a lot of changes internally and at work. You felt totally stuck in life for a while. Any insight? Marie, thank you, baby. It's so good to have you here. For those of you that don't know, Marie is one of the most amazing psychic mediums you will ever meet. She is claircognizant to the nth degree. She literally can climb inside someone else's thoughts and tell you exactly what they're thinking in real time if you ask her to. Now, I don't recommend that. That's a level of intrusion in someone else's space that isn't necessarily warranted, but spiritual baddie Marie, you want to sign up for her channel, hit that notification bell, because when she goes live, if you happen to be in no communication or separation from your twin and you're trying to understand what may be going on, she can give you the best insight about it. 90% of the time, it's not about you. But when it is about you, Marie can tell you exactly what happened and what they're thinking and what you need to do to fix things. So I highly recommend talking to her. If you're stuck in your twin connection. Okay. Now, Debbie, stuck in life. North Node transited by Saturn and Pluto. That is probably why. Also, Saturn squaring your sun. That is also why. Yeah, girl, you just having a tough transit. Listen, Debbie, it's going to stop being so tough at the end of 2020. But right now, you're going to have to ride it through. What's going on is that you are being asked. Marie, if you would paste your channel so people can find it, that would be fantastic. Paste a link to your channel in the chat, please. See this, Debbie? Here's Saturn, here's Pluto, here's your North Node. 19 degrees, 21 degrees, and 21 degrees is the North Node. Saturn and Pluto are some of the hardest teachers in the zodiac or in the planets. I have a feeling it is a Saturn kind of night, y'all. Let me just break this down. So, Saturn originally was one of Gaia's original children. Gaia created her own children without the help of any lover. She just poof, birthed them. Saturn, these original children were known as the Titans. They were gods, demigods, and Saturn was the one who was given rulership over time and order. And so things happening at the right time and in the right order is what Saturn sees to in our charts. And when Saturn moves through the sky, he is seeing that things are moving along at the right time and in the right order. Saturn has a second reputation, known as the separator, the disciplinarian, the harsh teacher. Saturn got that reputation because when Gaia's lover, Uranus, began to push her babies back into her because he thought they were ugly, Gaia called out to her original children and said, "Whom among you would help me put Uranus in his place?" Saturn answered and said, "What would you have me do, mother?" Gaia said, "I want you to castrate him." And so Saturn did. And in that story, Saturn separated Uranus from his capacity to procreate. Saturn also was the separator of Gaia from her lover because Uranus flew up from the earth, and the heavens and the earth have had this vast space of separation ever since, according to the mythology. And then the third thing that Saturn did in that story was brought right order and integrity, wholeness back to Gaia's capacity to bear children. So, with Saturn now transiting your 10th house of fame and honors, your career house, this is the house that governs the identity by which you come to be known in this walking lifetime. And sitting on top of your North Node, the life lesson that you are meant to be learning in this lifetime, it may have felt like things were A, at a standstill, B, not getting created, and C, like there have been a lot of endings and departures, separations. The reason for this is because when Saturn moves through a house or a sign, what Saturn is looking for is A, are things in order? And B, is this the right time for new things to occur? When it's not in order and it's not the right time, Saturn will pull out his castration knife and cause endings so that you have the opportunity to restore order for yourself and allow the right things to grow instead of the wrong things. So, Saturn is also squaring your sun sitting here in Libra in the 7th house, your sun being your identity. That can also make you feel like you personally are stagnating, like you personally are not growing. And so just keep this in mind that this is a temporary period of time, and what you are being asked to do with Saturn square the sun and transit the 10th is to have a deeper look at who you really are. Have a deeper look at what truly matters to you to express to the world, and get very honest with yourself about what the world values in terms of what you've given it. This is not an easy transit with these houses in place. You're really being asked to be bravely honest with yourself. If you have been trying to create a musical career, but the earth is not showing you that that is what's valued from you in terms of giving you financial stability for it that you really need, it may be time to move that musical career into the arena of hobbies and try a career path that's more closely aligned with what the world is saying. Hey, you've given this to us and we really value it. Can you please give us more? We will pay you for it. That's the kind of transit you are in right now. It's not easy stuff. It's a tough one. But the rewards are very rich because right on the heels of Saturn, Jupiter, the expander, so the opposite of Saturn's energy, you almost notice that they are inverse symbols. One is an H upright, one is kind of an H upside down, or a 4, if you will. The expander, Jupiter, is coming into Capricorn now and is going to bring opportunities to expand things that are right for you. So pay attention to what you've been shown is not right for you. Let those things go. Pay attention to things that you've been shown are right for you. Look for the opportunities that are coming for those things to expand because the opportunities are on their way. Tiffany, Melanie, Kristen, and Priscilla, that is the order of who's next. And then we will read for Angelita as well. The list is still open. This is how you join. Tiffany, if you would be so kind as to paste the information that I need, that would be awesome. Okay. Cool. Yes, still taking payments, Marie. Thank you very much. Um, thank you for being the like police, Marie. Yes, please, 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 please press the like button. It totally helps. Yes, OLG ILA, you can still get a read. You're welcome, Debbie. My pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to read for you. Hi, Tiffany. Kisco, New York. Okay, awesome. Melanie, you are next. So I'm going to ask Melanie and Kristen, the two of you, to please prepare your question. Okay. Prepare your question so that when I call your name, your information is prepared to paste and send so that I can see it, and we have a seamless flow from the ending of one reading to the beginning of another one. Yes, Real Love K, you can get a read. Just scroll up for the information on how to do that. Tiffany H. Minnie. What's going on with Twin? Are you in union? Okay. Kisco, New York. One 28, 1986, 6:32. Okay, cool. You're welcome, Tiffany. When was the last time you spoke to your twin, hun? And how did you two leave it? Listen, let me tell you guys something. Tiffany, tell me when the last time you spoke to your twin and how you two left it was while I explain this. Look, the stars can influence, but they don't control. They create invitations, but you have to actually RSVP and show up. So, you know, there may be things that, opportunities for union and opportunities to come together. But if you are not doing the work every step of the way before the stars get there, it will not happen. The stars will not pluck you out of your living room, throw you over your DM's shoulder, and ride the two of you off into the sunset on a white horse. You have to be doing the work. So, and by the work, what I'm talking about is finding how to keep your heart open when you'd rather close it, finding how to get curious about him and yourself and the truth of what your needs are, figuring out how to not let your past and your wounds of your past be something that your present pays for. So, Tiffany, this isn't just for you, this is for everyone on the live. Union comes when you've done the work for it. It doesn't come by a particular date. So, thank you. Thank you so much, Marie. Yeah, I'm sure you would say the same thing on your channel, hun. Okay, cool. OLG, ILA, hold your information until I call your name. All right. Let's get into what we have going on for Tiffany. He's in another connection. Got it. All right. So, yeah, he may be trying to explore that right now. And the way he may be telling you to love him is to let him explore that, respect his choice. I don't know what he said to you or what the last words spoken were, but it does appear like I can definitely see the blockage for you in terms of wanting to connect with him, with Saturn and Pluto moving through that fifth house of romantic connection and Jupiter, the divine masculine, sitting with them on your axis of manifestation. It just looks like there's a bit of a blockage while Saturn does its work of restoring your axis of manifestation to integrity. So, what you're being asked to look at, given what I just said, at this moment in time, in terms of getting to union, what your work is at this moment has to do. Number one, with valuing yourself. The divine feminine sits over here in the second house of self-worth. That's where she's transiting, and self-worth and communication. Mind and communication is the third house. She's going to retrograde back and forth between self-worth and communication, self-worth and communication. So I'm really getting a strong message here that a big piece of your learning in 2020 on the road to union has to do with valuing Tiffany and communicating those things to others. Gosh, this is really like, I don't know how many of you guys were on the live with Allison Armstrong just now, but you have to go back and watch it because she deep dives on the necessity of learning who we are more deeply, honoring who we are before we try to get in a connection with somebody else. And your chart is pretty much black and white spelling that out. No connection, because right now is the time to figure out how to value Tiffany. So he may be in a connection with somebody else. That is neither here nor there until you have figured this piece out. It doesn't look like the opportunity for him to come forward presents itself, because what's on the agenda or the syllabus right now is this class, the class on how to value Tiffany. And once you've learned the How to Value Tiffany class, which is the next 11 months, it's an 11-month class, then the Divine Feminine moves out of Libra and into Scorpio and moves forward. After that, then it looks like there could be some conversation about a possibility. But as of right now, your work is with you. His work is learning whatever lesson he's learning in the relationship that he's in. Could it come together? Absolutely. Always a possibility. There's never not a possibility. I have seen people with some of the most difficult placements in their charts actually come into union, get married, celebrate 5-year anniversaries together. Some of the most difficult charts. There is never not a way, but you have to be willing to do the work. Okay. So that's what I'll say about that. Where is my Zoom? Oh, Tiffany, did I not share the screen? Did you not see any of this? Look, here's the Divine Feminine. Here's second house, self-worth. Here's third house, communication. Here's the Divine Masculine sitting with this blocking energy, this restoring to integrity energy, Saturn in the fifth house of romantic liaisons. Okay. So just allow him to work his process. You've got a different classroom you're in. You're on the same campus. You're just in different classes right now. You do your work. And when the time is right, if both of you have done it and are willing, there will be an opportunity to come together. All right. Oh, I did show it, but then I stopped showing it. Haha. I must be losing it tonight. Okay. So after Tiffany, we've got Melanie. Tiffany, thanks for allowing me to read for you. We've got Melanie, Kristen, Priscilla, and Angelita. List is still open. That's how you get on it. It was really enlightening, wasn't it? The OG, how do I say your name? Olgilla? That's what it looks like. The Ogilla. Am I still alive? Yeah, I am. Okay. All right. Cool. Melanie, let me know how I should, what I can read for you. Melanie, Kristen. Kristen, if you could get your question ready, and Priscilla, you as well. Get your question ready. Start typing it now so that when I call your name, you can just hit post or send. And then there's a seamless flow in between the last reading and the next reading. The list is still open. If you'd like to get on it, you can do so. I just posted the instructions. I'd be happy to read for you tonight. But yeah, that live with Allison Armstrong was so good. So good. She's extraordinary in the way she understands relationships. Oh, it's an acronym. OLGILA. Okay. All right. Update. All right. Melanie and Kristen, where are you? Melanie and Kristen, where are you, lovelies? Priscilla and Angelita, go ahead and start getting your questions ready as well. I look forward to reading for all of you. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Marie, I love it when you say that. Don't be a cheapskate. Hit that like button. It costs you nothing. Oh, you're one of my favorites, Marie. Absolute favorites. Okay. All right, Melanie and Kristen. I don't see any post from you, but Priscilla and Angelita, if you are ready, go for it. Post for me so that I can read your chart. Awesome. All right, Melanie, let's roll, honey. Okay, so Kristen, Priscilla, and Angelita, hold your question. Hold your question until I call your name, but definitely get it ready so that when I call your name, you're ready. That part about I care, I know, right? That part about I care about you versus I love you. Oh my gosh. Did you fall over? I about fell out of my chair when she told us the real truth about the words I care about you. My God, I was blown away because you just never knew that it meant what they said it meant. You thought we all thought something very different about the difference between I love you and I care about you. But when straight from men's mouths, it is what they said. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you missed that part, please go back and listen. It will blow you away. Blow you away. Okay, Melanie got this chart going, babe. He's a cat, both in quickly crumbling marriages. Oh, my love. Both doing work. Know we are destined. Share true unconditional love. Is 2020 an end for my marriage and union? It could be because there's a series of eclipses happening on the Sag Gemini axis that start in June. And yeah, they're going to talk to your partnership asteroid here. It's a 1.5 year window of eclipses. They start with a series of endings before they move into a series of beginnings. So the short answer is it very well could be. Let's just see. Again, it's up to you. Now, listen, human beings have lived on the earth for many thousands of years prior to divorce being a way of life. And these transits have always been the transits. So in times prior to divorce being culturally acceptable, people just stuck it out. They just stuck it out. They stayed in their marriage, even though the stars said, contract over. You've learned what you've needed to learn. We had a value on long term commitment that meant that you didn't stay, you didn't leave. Now we have culturally, we're seeing a shift where there's a higher value on growth. And so people, people get divorced when the growth is done, when they're growing in different directions. So, what you do with this and what he does with this is going to be up to you. Okay. But are the stars inviting you to take a different route? Yes, that would be the case. I see that very clearly here with Saturn square your partnership asteroid and these eclipses coming on your first house, seventh house axis, self and other. Seventh house being the house of committed partnership, eclipses bringing beginnings and endings that are like new moons and full moons on steroid. Yeah, if you can choose to stick this out, but it would be extremely difficult. The stars are speaking to that this is a completion point for you if you decide to take it. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. Now, who am I reading for? I'm reading for Melanie. Melanie, where are you at? Back up here in the chat. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's what's going on here, Melanie. Did you say anything else, Melanie? Where can I hear what you're talking about Karen Love? Okay, so if you go back out on the channel, and you look on the videos that I have there, look for what's it called? The recording called how did I title this recording, y'all? Understanding. What did I call this recording? Understanding the Heart of the Divine Masculine. It's in there. It's a live interview that I just recorded before I went live to do this with Allison Armstrong. She is an expert on love, relationship, and connection between men and women, and how to create the kind of love, care, and connection that you want to be experiencing. So I highly recommend having a listen, Melanie. It was amazing. Okay. So I've got Kristen, Priscilla, Angelita, then Tammy, in that order. Kristen, if you would be so great. Thank you so much, Marie. You're such an awesome moderator. So good. Yes, Kristen, if you